How I created the blueprint for success. And I have done that. And I want you to understand it because I posted something the other day that I said you were born successful. And that is true for every single person because that is your authentic self. But getting there and understanding that can be challenging at times, as it was for me, which is why I can give this information to so many others. I had a presentation last week, and you can find it on my YouTube channel, and it's called The Science of Fulfillment. Because there is a science to it. There is a science to how we develop as humans, as individuals, how our world develops as well, and how we each contribute to that. But we do that when we decide to become our successful selves, meaning becoming our authentic selves. And that can be challenging for many different reasons. Usually it's because you're unique. And so you don't have a blueprint to follow because it hasn't been shown to you yet in terms of when you're living in this world and what you might accomplish. We learn that as we move along, and that's exactly what I've done. So we come into the world and we learn something while we're alive and we develop and we can become successful. But whatever we might do that causes us to figure out how to do that, then we give it back to others. And that's how the world keeps evolving. None of us live forever. And so we have to decide, am I going to live that successful life that I'm supposed to have now? And I had to develop a way because I couldn't find it. And I'm being completely honest, but that's a really great thing for you to understand because when I can show you all the things not to do to become successful, you can probably have a much better shot at becoming who you're meant to be. Whenever we are suffering, whenever we're in fear, whenever we don't have confidence, whenever we don't have the right career or the right relationship, or when we are lacking in prosperity or abundance, it's always because we have not connected to our authentic self. See, I know the science of how we all develop, but I also believe that there's a greater component there, which I call spirituality. And so it was told to me that I was meant in this lifetime, what I was meant to bring is was the marriage of science and spirituality and human development. And the reason that I was given that is because our world would be moving through a big transition. And I was given that information. So the more of us who understand this particular time in which we're living and decide that we're going to become really happy and successful, we changed the trajectory of everything because it's all energy. And that's what I had in the presentation. Understanding that we are all energy, the way we create our lives in the world is through energy, and we all have access to it. But understanding how to use it at times is a journey. And throughout history, people develop things that show us how to do that. That's how we learn. I'm one of those people, and that's what I'm going to show you today. And the reason I'm doing this today is because I also let a lot of people know that I'll be changing my program next week. And so I wanted those who wanted to come in now to really understand what this work is. It's going to always be available, but it'll just be changed a bit by next week. And so will my website and all of that. You never know who you're going to become because we can always become something more. You might find yourself shifting into new careers or new ideas about who you are, and that's okay. I'm at 73 and I'm still doing it. So you might still be discovering your authentic self. But this is the little presentation I wanted you to see, and you will understand a lot more, especially if you listen to the presentation of the science of fulfillment. How I created the blueprint for success, or what I call your last development program. How I created my work, a journey through history. When people ask me how I develop my work, I often find it helpful to share my story in the context of other historical figures who have embarked on similar journeys. My work, which I now call your last development program, is the result of decades of receiving and integrating profound insights. And who is it for? I just want everyone to know who this work might be relevant for, and it's spiritual seekers, those who are looking to connect with their inner wisdom and higher consciousness. Individuals facing life transitions, which could be many right now, people going through significant changes or challenges who need guidance and support, personal development enthusiasts, those interested in self improvement, healing, and achieving their full potential, because we're never done with that, by the way. Followers of historical spiritual figures include inspired by the teachings of figures like Socrates, Rumi, Carl Jung, Edgar Cayce, and Jane Roberts, all people that I had studied. Anyone interested in channeling and higher guidance, people curious about the process of channeling and how higher consciousness can offer insights and healing. And again, those are the things that I have done. Now, when I talk about 35 years of doing this, I started in 1989, as that message says. And so what I did was I started receiving, I was doing automatic writing. I had no idea where it was going or where it was going to lead me. But I did it every single day. And I'm sitting down and I'm receiving all this information. And then I realized at some point it developed into something which I call a philosophy now, because that is what happens. It's a synthesis of the wisdom and guidance I have received over the years. This program is tailored to address the current period of societal change, helping individuals embrace their true potential and contribute to global healing. That's why I explained energy last in the presentation, so you would understand it. It's we are all contributing to how our world turns out, and that is the energy that we individually decide to put into the creation in our lives and also in our world. This has no relevant purpose of being in this presentation. You'll see it in the last one. I just like the picture a lot. That's all. Because that's me. And that showed me in my nurturing self when I was a child, but that's all who I've always been. Okay. Healing and personal growth. The insights from Wilhelm have been instrumental in my own healing and personal growth. By applying these teachings to my life, I experienced profound transformation. Recognizing the potential to help others, I dedicated myself to developing a program that could offer similar guidance and healing to those in need. I will not tell you that you will heal all the things that I have. Your life path might be a little bit different, but I am telling you that the tools that I received, and that's all in consciousness again, caused me to heal things that people said were impossible, including my doctors. Nothing is impossible. We only set limits on ourselves, and only because we haven't been shown what is possible. And so I'm on a mission to show what is possible. When I share how I created your last development program, I often compare it to the experience of those historical figures who tap into higher consciousness to bring forth transformative transformative teachings, like Socrates, who used dialogue to uncover deeper truth, or Rumi, whose poetry connected people to divine love. I have received and integrated messages from Wilhelm. This process of receiving guidance is not unique to me. Carl Jung explored the collective unconscious to reveal universal themes, while Edgar Cayce and Jane Roberts channeled higher entities to provide insights and healing. My work is a continuation of this tradition aimed at helping individuals navigate the current societal changes by embracing their true potential and contributing to global healing. When I first read Jane Roberts, probably back in the 1970s, it was interesting, but I didn't understand it. I'm just saying we had developed in our consciousness and understanding of things, and it also was very strange to me. I couldn't accept what was going on, but I understand now that there's information that we all have access to, that from those who came before, who may have been considered pioneers. And these are some of the historical figures. You can read all of this. I'm not going to go through it now, but it'll be on this site, because I want you to understand when they were around, when they lived, what they brought in, and also how their work still influences us. We're always a continuation of consciousness, and we each have a responsibility to access whatever is within us to be able to give to others. I'm going to tell you this story really quickly because it's all in that presentation of last that I did of last week of your the science of fulfillment. And what I'm saying is that I just the whole story so you understand this. I didn't know what I had created. None of us do until it's done. I couldn't have known that because I had to see the results of it to be at 73 and find out that everything had healed and all the difficulties and troubles I went through in my life were gone. However, I still had doubts. And you can see in that presentation, I had to go to others to get confirmation. You need to do the same thing. We all do because we have to have some context to be able to find out who we are. So then when I finally decided I'm going to try this, I put it out in December of 2021, and I was shocked at the results. I was just so surprised, and you will hear what these people said about that. And it took me a while to actually really own it all, which is why I have to now. And because I only have done part of the program, I only done a portion of it. So now I'm putting it all in. But you'll hear what they said.
I find this work is very powerful. They change a lot very quickly. It's like quite surprising how things are changing for me.
I want to say how grateful I am that you've done this. And the time that you've put through on this is just amazing. And as we get older and we put through something like this into the world, you don't know the benefits of it until years later.
I just want to thank you for the program. Probably a year or two ago, if there was a tough decision to make, especially about money or anything like that, I would let fear and worry guide me away from a decision that might have helped me grow.
I have moved. I have made some positive changes. Hey, good, bad, or ugly, you did it. That's the main thing.
When you say the time is now, and I always appreciate it because now more than ever, I feel a little bit more satisfied with myself because especially lately, I keep leaving a project not finished.
I love the program. I love the questions, but I think that being aware of everything that's inside of you and bringing it out onto paper, it really does make you step forward in that area.
The way the questions penetrate into your memory and into your past experiences is so unique. Yeah, it really goes deep very, very quickly. I mean, I'm only on day 3, but the way like the questions are presented and the things you read before and the whole steps you go through, probably a lot of people's experiences, but it goes really deep, really, really quickly.
I mean, every day has its difficulties, but like it's better than it was. You know, I mean, I'm doing more things that I enjoy, and like I find that I personally feel like I'm meant to do my book and everything, and then with the acting, I'm working on all that.
I've been taking so much courses, like especially with this pandemic, I approach different from Tony Robbins, from Bob Proctor, from Jack Canfield, and also I've been following Abraham Hicks, but never really brought me the result that I wanted to do it. So I'm very, I mean, this course is very more, I found that I think it's a bit faster.
Roger, I just wanted to say thank you again, because a few years ago I realised that voice coaching wasn't the only thing that I could do, and that I had something else. But I didn't know what it was. I had no idea what it was.
Now, the reason that I have done that is because in 2012, when I was told I received this information, it took me a while to understand it, but this message will help you so much because this is for all of us. Infinite intelligence is available to all souls, and all one need do is become willing to access it. You are continually being made aware of this fact, but at certain times you are not willing to listen. You will experience many times when you think you are hearing certain information again, but the only difference is you are now hearing it as an expanded being. This is precisely the process of expansion that you sought. There is no monopoly on information or intelligence, and it is shared by all, for you are all one. Study is the process of repeating or reliving that very intelligence so it becomes part of the new you. When I received that in 2012, I could not have told you what it meant precisely. I could not have told you why it would have been relevant now in our world because I receive information beforehand. I could not have told you I was even a mystic before. I wouldn't even say those words or a prophet because I had this desire that my life was meant to help uplift the planet, and that's what this work was given, but it comes through the individual. The more people who are happy, successful, loving themselves, moving through generational trauma, letting go of all the old stuff, then they heal because that's what I've experienced. You start to heal, and I'll show you how I've written all of this so you can get a little more help on that one as well. But just to understand, there are no limits to what we can do as individuals, and absolutely no limits to what we could do as humans in the world. We could change things in a way that we would see a very different world than what we happen to be witnessing. And I will say that we still have a little bit of ways to go, and especially this year in 2024. Now, how your life development program can help you. It is designed to help you connect with your inner wisdom. By tapping into deeper layers of your consciousness, you can uncover truths about yourself and your purpose in life. You can heal and transform. The program offers tools and insights to facilitate personal healing and growth, helping you overcome challenges, embrace your true potential, navigate societal changes. In today's rapidly changing world, your last development program provides guidance on how to adapt and thrive, contributing positively to the global shift. Embrace your unique potential. Just as historical figures like Socrates, Rumi, and Jung inspired others through their work, you too can embrace your unique gifts and make a meaningful impact on the world. By understanding my journey and the journeys of those who came before me, you can see how your last development program is rooted in a rich history of spiritual and philosophical exploration. This program is here to guide you on your path, just as these great figures have guided so many others. This is another video that I want to say, because you never know when you're going to start to appreciate yourself. This video was done many years ago, and it took me a while to understand or accept the impact that I was making on others because many of you might know me. I'm a bit introverted. You might have been that way too. So I don't really go out and I don't talk about it. I don't really bring these things up, but I thought it would be helpful for you to see it here.
Hello, I'm Demetra.
My name's Clarity.
My name is Cody.
My name is Lisa.
My name is Marla.
My name is Anna.
My name is Terry, and I'm a student of Roger Burnley.
I'm a student of Roger Burnley.
I lived almost in my body. I was afraid of a lot of things that I didn't even realize I was afraid of.
I did have some really challenging situations in my life, and it messed me up pretty bad, actually. It took me a long, long time to recover from the early part of my life.
I was just starting college, and I didn't know what the future held for me.
I'm a mum with 4 kids. We have a business, probably going through some marital issues and all sorts of things.
Before I even knew about him or anything, it's like he read me like a book. He just was so intuitive and honed in on my fears and my issues very nicely and very gently, but just kind of like pushed the button and said, here, this is what we're going to do now.
That message came at a really important time for me because I was making big decisions in my life about changing jobs and changing careers and moving to another part of the country. And I don't think that I would have been able to move forward with all of those things because I would have been too scared before.
I think the ways that he has helped me is just kind of, he's kind of given less voice to kind of my own like self-doubt and more voice to kind of my own intuition and like things that I like think or kind of want to do or think I could probably do. He'll be like, oh yeah, of course you're gonna do that. Like it's like the most obvious, clear thing ever. So I think he's just like very validating.
I feel so much more empowered than I did ever before in my life. It's given me more vision, more clarity, and it's allowed me to visualize what I want in my life.
Whoa. It was kind of like I was like, what are you, a wizard?
Now everything seems to be falling into place. My seeking of spiritual meaning beyond the religion of my family of origin did not allow the things that I do today.
He's 70, 71. It also shows no matter how old you are or how young, you've still got amazing things you can do. Because, I'm 51 now, and, what am I going to get done in the next 20 years? And look at him, and he's just so inspirational.
Thank you, Roger, for opening up new vistas for me.
Just thank you for you've gotten me through so much with when I was in the hospital and everything, and he's allowed me to just keep going on in my life and giving me what it is I need each and every day to improve.
Don't stop what you're doing. You're so inspirational. You're one of my role models. You've changed my life, and I can see you changing the life. Like, I introduced my twin sister to you, and I can see you changing her life, changing her attitude too. You save people's lives.
It means everything to me. It's actually healed me up inside and made it so that I can feel like I'm myself. I feel like I'm myself now.
Thank you. The ability to trust myself, trust my voice, trust that I have a gift. I'm so grateful that I found him and helped me grow and evolve into the person I am today. Thank you.
Hello.
You absolutely never know who you can become. And I'm saying that because that was several years ago, and it still took me a while to really understand what I was doing. I've always been intuitive, but I didn't go out and talk about it a lot. I didn't go into spiritual communities. I didn't do any of that. I was just receiving the information, and I thought it was just for me. And I find so many parallels to Carl Jung, which I wrote an article about that as well. And so I've been doing this a long time, and I knew the changes that would be moving through in our world individually, what each person would be moving through. And this is why when I started doing channeling sessions, live sessions, I only started that in 2021 because I knew that I could bring in more information that would help more of us. But it was also very challenging for me to even start to do that. Now I'm doing private sessions as well because I've moved over that barrier. We move over the barriers, and there's always this disbelief that we have about ourselves. The only thing that we fear is who we can become, because that just means moving into that unknown place of where we've been sitting, because that comfort zone is where we feel comfortable, but that doesn't allow us to grow and have what we want. And you don't have the success that you could have if you stay in the same place. So we all have to progress. And this is what I'm doing now, because I've not given everything. And as I showed you that cabinet with all those papers, I have so much information. I could write several books, and the next book is going to be Your Life Operating Instructions, because I'm going to give the full detail of all of this, and it'll be like my kind of autobiography, I guess, because I need people to have this information, and I need to leave this with the world. But I want to show you something else, because I said that I've written these articles. Most people don't hear what I'm saying, by the way. So don't worry, because I receive things well before they show up in the world. And so when I'm talking about it, people don't understand what I'm saying. But now we're seeing it all happening in our world because we're moving through very dynamic changes. But remember, it's just energy. And so if we're not going into fear within ourselves, then we're going to create the lives that we want, and we'll be contributing to the world in a different way as well. But let me show you this, because I'm going to take you back to some of the titles, and you can go to my website and read these actually. I'm going to start at the beginning, and you'll see what I mean. Because I'm in touch with what was happening in the world and the things that we might need to move through. And so I started talking about them. And this was in 2016. I might be racist with misogynistic tendencies because I had to get in touch with whatever was in my evolutionary path that was preventing me from releasing the anger, judgment, self-doubt, all of those things. And so if we're not willing to look at our histories, meaning our individual DNA, where we came from, how we might have been influenced, we can't get to the next level. And so I just kept doing it. And then I had to start telling because I understood what was happening a long time ago, but I was still a reluctant mystic. You could be reluctant because something is coming up that you don't completely trust yet. It is a process and one that you move through in your conscious. The reason you were born, I wanted to give everyone more articles to understand the changes that they would be feeling because everyone's felt it over the last several years. Your destiny is before you. That's each of us, but we have to be willing to grab it. And then here's what's happening in your life and world. You can go, it's the rogerburnley.com. You can read all of these because they will help you. I feared success in myself. That's what happens. When we are not willing to become ourselves, we don't succeed. That is the only reason because no matter how you were born, what you were given, how you came into the world, you can achieve success when you start thinking about it differently and change your brain, meaning reinterpreting things about your life. Then I wanted to tell you why I created this program. The reason you are alive, I just wanted to keep saying it. You could save the world. Each of us. There's no one who has more ability or power than another. We just have to decide how much we're going to develop. I spent several months in a dark room. I wanted you to understand some of the things that I went through that I discovered the healing. And this is one of them because I healed cluster headaches. I've healed so many other things. But yes, I did spend a lot of time figuring it out. Then I could never fit in or feel that I belonged. Many of us feel that way, especially now. You are not alone, but that's only because you're still moving to that self-acceptance of your authentic self. I didn't want to be me. I had to keep talking about it because I know people feel that when you are judging your life, but then you turn it around and things change. I was given a gift. I had to admit that. I'm sure no one understood it when I wrote this in August of 2022 because I hadn't been doing so much that talking about it. You only want three things, and that's all of us. When you can acknowledge this, when you can recognize this within yourself, that you only want acknowledgement, acceptance, and approval. But the fact is, you have to give it to yourself first. And that's what we're all working on. I decided to give up suffering today. I wrote that to say that when you finally start owning yourself, you give up suffering. The World According to Wilhelm, this is a channeled one that I did because I wanted people to understand what was happening in the world. Then I knew that I had discovered something that was so brilliant that could make me so wealthy because I have something that I could give to everybody that they would have this great life. I could, somebody will find this and say, let's take this out there and let's make a lot of money. And that's probably what's going to come up because there are things coming up now that are going to probably lead to that. It's miserable not being myself. That's you. Then I wanted you to understand that I did download a philosophy. That's exactly how it came through. And when I started talking about Carl Jung, I knew a while ago that I was getting these principles. This is why the work was so effective on the members who are people who are using it, because we're using science that he brought in and made us aware of. I didn't know I was doing the same thing. I'm going to say the quiet parts out loud. That's when we aren't willing to own things or say things because we feel so intimidated because we've been programmed not to own ourselves. And then I said, life coaching for a new world. And this is an article that I wrote. It's very long, but I put a lot of information in there because I wanted you to understand the changes you would be seeing in the world, especially in the United States. And these are societal changes that we have gone through before. And so when you look at the history, you might not be quite as afraid. All suffering and struggle you continue to experience is self-imposed, are self-imposed. And that is absolutely true. I've done it because when I couldn't own myself, I suffered. And I'm choosing to give that up. You are perfect. I know that about every single person. Anyway, this one is, you'll have fun with this. There's a continuity in the universe, in consciousness. And so on certain days, they gave me messages to maybe to pay attention. Every November 23rd, you'll have fun with that. And so anyway, all of this, and I call the work an ascension guide for the new world, how you can achieve your greatest potential. All of these, if you were to just read all of these, it would make so much sense for you, and you would feel like you're in a different place there. Again, the reason I'm doing this is that I said the other day that I was taking in 5 more people. One person's already done it. So, and I'm saying this because with those people, so there are 4 left. I'm working with you for an hour first as you come into the program, because if I can get you to understand exactly who you are, where you're going beforehand, and then you start doing this work, you take off. You are soaring, and that's what I want to do. And then there's another motive I have, because if you do that, you're going to talk about this work, and I'll never have to do another presentation again. People will just come in and do it because they will see what happens. But the other thing that's happening is I'm going to have an interview. Many of you might know I went and did a show, Beyond Belief, with George Nuri for Gaia. That's coming out within a couple of months, probably. So this is going to be exposed to thousands of people because I talked about it there. Then I'm going back in October, and then it's going to be even bigger. And this is something I would have never imagined. I'm probably going to be now, this work can go to, what, to 1 million people. That's something that I couldn't even fathom before, because I was hiding for the first 20 years of my life that I was even doing it. And then people said, oh, wait a minute, this is something of value. So that's why I got called in. I didn't put myself there. They found me, by the way. And so when you start owning yourself, you have no idea what could come about for you. But this is the best time in our world for you to decide to become your best self. And that's what this work does. That's why I call it a blueprint to success, because it is within each person. You just need a path, a plan to get there. And mine works because I healed. And so that's what I want everyone to understand. When we can do that, we live these great, successful lives, and we have a very different world. So check out everything on my website, and you'll get all of it. So and again, the program is always going to be available, but it's just Monday. It's just going to be a little different. And so those who want to take advantage of it now, I invite you to do that. But again, success is within you. There's no person born who does not possess that ability to create it. See you soon.